I'll look on the ground. We'll look for some very strange leaves that don't look like any oak leaves you've ever seen.
An oracle oak can be found just past the first hairpin turn on Middle Trail.
It's almost like a black oak, but not quite. This is an oracle oak. It was first collected by a man named Albert Kellogg. He was a physician, but his first love was biology, especially botany. He was self-taught. He came out to California. He tried to mine for gold, very unsuccessful. He moved to San Francisco. He was one of the founders of the Academy of Sciences. When the Academy was founded, it wasn't going to be a closed club like back east. The Academy of Sciences in San Francisco was going to be egalitarian. They welcomed all gentlemen of good standing that wanted to contribute. Albert Kellogg looked at the bylaws as they were ready to be adopted. He said, "Gentlemen, we're forgetting something." And he insisted that they add a sentence, "We encourage women to participate in the Academy of Sciences and heartily invite their cooperation in all departments." And it wasn't too many years after that they hired Alice Eastwood, who was head of the botanical department for decades, and they hired other women. But poor Dr. Kellogg, he never quite could get the respect he deserved. He wrote a book on oaks of California that was very widely respected. So he really knew his stuff, but that wasn't any good for the Eastern botanists. They looked down upon him just because he was self-taught. They said he was a well-meaning soul, but something of a pest and a nuisance in the science.
Albert Kellogg gave the Latin name Quercus morhus and the common name Abram's oak to what we call the oracle oak today. The Latin was likely a reference to a biblical story about the Oak of Morah, which was where Abraham camped when he first arrived in the Promised Land. In Hebrew, Morah can mean teacher or one who gives oracular answers. Kellogg considered his newly named oak a separate species in the red oak grouping of oaks.
Two other oaks around here that are in the red oak grouping are interior live oak and black oak. And it turns out this is the hybrid love child of those two oaks. Now we're surrounded by interior live oaks, but where's the black oak? There aren't any around. There aren't any within miles. There's some over on the other side of Mount Diablo at Rock City and out at Black Point, and actually a few that have been found over in Perkins Canyon. So how did this tree come to be? Well, it was either a very windy day where the pollen from a California black oak was blown to an interior live oak, or it was a woodpecker or a scrub jay who was trying to impress somebody by carrying an acorn several miles and then dropping it. But it's here, and it's interesting, it's got some progeny around. But they don't quite look like this. They look more interior live oaky. And you can imagine every generation after this one, whose pollen is it going to get? It's going to be the interior live oaks around. So each successive generation looks more like an interior oak. And the latest word from the botanists is they really don't consider it a separate species anymore. It's a hybrid. But you can imagine there's some problems here. Here's this tree, and Mom is an evergreen, an interior live oak, and Dad, the black oak, who's kind of an absentee father, we don't quite know where he is, several miles away. He's deciduous. And this poor tree is in some need of counseling, it looks like. It's dropped about a third of its leaves. About a third of them have turned yellow. And the other third, which we're looking at, they're green. So it's compromised. A third of it stays green all year, a third of it drops its leaves, and a third just can't make up its mind what to do. It just turn yellow and just hang there until there's a big windstorm.
Up the trail from here is another unusual oak. It has tiny prickly leaves and is in the scrub oak family. But most scrub oaks can't grow in serpentine soil. This is a special one, leather oak.